96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
I'm not afraid to take a stand, everybody.
See Live Off the Record with Zhivargo Laing is brought to you by Burger King, the Cleveland Clinic, Dunkin' Donuts, Grand Bahama News, Janae's Uniform Center, Prince Masters, IRF Bank and Trust, the Right Honorable Hubert A. Ingram Chambers, and Royal Star Assurance.
And good afternoon, good day. Welcome to Z Live on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Yes, this is Pearlie filling in for Zhivargo today and tomorrow. Good to be with you at this time of the day. It's been a little while since I've been here with you. I think last year at the same time. It's been a little while, so I'm excited to be here with you. Happy to be here with you. And just to see what's going on, we can get right into it right away. I have a special guest with me today. I don't want to demote you now. Assistant Commissioner? Former Deputy Commissioner of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Quinn McCartney. He served as co-chair of the Cannabis Committee under the previous administration. And I thought it was fitting for us to have a conversation to see what some of the recommendations the previous commission made and see how far off this bill that the government introduced yesterday and started the debate yesterday, how far off or how close it is to it. So welcome to Z Live and good to have you here.
Pleasant good afternoon, Earl. Good to be here. As you call yourself, Pearlie.
Pearlie on the show. So you can't call him a government name.
You can't call your government name. Good to be here. Pearlie.
Don't worry about it.
But I know you a long time. So.
Yes. I mean, maybe the kids the age. But yesterday, the government introduced to the Bahamas the long-awaited cannabis bill. Some people are saying it's been a long time coming. Some people are very happy about it. Some people think that the government didn't go far enough with it. Some people have some other views on it. And I'll tell you my personal views on it as we get into the conversation. But give us a little background on what did you do in the first commission and some of the things that you found in your discussions. Because I knew you did. I went to a couple of your town meetings. I know you went all over the Bahamas talking. You had people come in from California. You had a good cross-section of Bahamians representing every walk of life was on that commission.
Yes.
So give us a little background on what your goals were, what your objectives were, and how far did you get into it? I know you had a final report that you gave the government.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so the commission was established in October 2018, but we didn't really start working until January or February of 2019 for a number of logistic reasons. But the commission was established as a result of the CARICOM Commission. They had a CARICOM Commission on Marijuana that presented a report that was established in 2015 and presented its report in 2018.
Okay.
And so shortly thereafter, the government of the Bahamas own commission, which was one of the mandates of the CARICOM Commission on Marijuana, that each country then look in CARICOM region, look at this issue of cannabis. And so we were mandated by the government, and in particular at the time, the then Minister of Finance, Dwayne Sands,
Minister of Health.
Minister of Health. I said Finance. Sorry, my apologies. Minister of Health. To look at all things relating to cannabis and just to get the feel of the Bahamian population to see what their views were on the issue, and then to look at some of the recommendations from the CARICOM Commission, or look at all the recommendations from the CARICOM Commission, and see how best we can double detail that to our local situation. So that was our mandate in a nutshell.
Okay. So in a nutshell, what did the Bahamian people say?
So basically, we surveyed, but we also had town meetings, as you indicated. We went to several family islands. We had several here in New Providence. And the overwhelming response was in favor of medicinal use for cannabis.
Uh-huh.
There were mixed views on recreational use. And there was support for research and things of that nature. And so the Bahamian public were basically in line with what the commission was looking at in terms of making recommendations to the government and the way forward. The commission took the view on the issue of recreational marijuana. It was a divided commission on that particular issue, but we took the view, and the final report stated basically that we said, there was more research that was needed, But let's introduce stuff, let's do some research, do some feedback, make sure we're getting the right information, and then we could probably look at recreational use later on.
Okay. When I looked at the bill, I listened to the debate yesterday, listened to the Minister of Health and Wellness, I listened to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, and I listened to what they had to say, and specifically those two people who gave pretty much the bulk of what was said about it. And a couple of things that crossed me. Okay, first of all, it's going to be legalized for medicinal use.
Okay.
There's going to be some decriminalization of it,
Right.
With a $250 fine. I ain't gonna say my view on that yet. And also for religious purposes for the Rastafarian faith. Now, I'm guessing as a Roman Catholic and you as an Anglican, probably trying to, and I can't say you because you have to keep maybe an unbiased opinion to it. But as a Roman Catholic, we don't use that for our sacramental beliefs, so it doesn't bother me so much so. But I think a lot of people are concerned of how will it be managed? How will it be policed? And I don't want to use that word I'm using it in a broader sense.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In terms of ensuring that it is done properly and is not abused in that level that everybody in the Bahamas start growing locks. I thought about growing mines this morning, but I don't think my hair could take.
Right.
So, I mean, on a serious note, but so that's a concern. And then when you look at some other things about it with the production of it, a minimum, and I'm going to use the word that the Deputy Leader of the government said, a minimum of 30% Bahamians will have ownership in manufacturing. And I think the opposition was opposed to that to some degree, thinking that Bahamians should have more ownership in it. And then the $250 fine, which I think is very high. Now, you had some people, like the former Prime Minister, who got up and said, listen, he thinks that we're too late, we're moving too slow, we're years behind, which other countries like Uruguay, Canada, already have it legalized. 23, 24 states, United States have it legalized or decriminalized. 38 of the states have it for medicinal use. Are we behind?
I think we may. I think one of the things we have to do is we have to always Bahamas, and yes, things may be happening around the world, and I think the issue of whether we're behind is because of the financial gains that could come from marijuana or the cannabis industry, and so I think more persons seem, when I heard that talk, the discussions about being behind, more persons seem to be more concerned about the financial implications. If other countries establish a lucrative industry of growing marijuana for medicinal or recreational use and then exporting it or whatever, they felt that we would be too far behind other countries. That's not. I'm not seeing evidence of that.
Okay.
But my view has been that, and I think a number of us commissioners was, let's find a situation a solution that's best for the Bahamas. Let's not worry about what Canada or the United States or even other CARICOM countries are doing. Let's make sure that when we let this house out of the gate, it's not to the detriment of the Bahamas overall. And so, I'm of the opinion that we should take our time. We should make sure do all the research, get all the information to make sure that when we do say a particular direction, particularly say even outside of medicinal, say if we look at recreational, let's not worry about what the world is doing. Let's find a solution best, because this is a small country, we're only 400,000 people, and if we mess up and we get everybody,
Go ahead.
using marijuana,
Everybody high.
everybody high, it could be to the detriment of our country. You have, and so my view is, I wouldn't say that we are far behind, but I think it's something that we should look at, and that's why I eagerly served on the commission and made my input.
So let me throw this curveball at you. So you telling me that from 2018 or 2019 into the 2020, whenever you did your final report, that wasn't enough time to figure out what was going on? We need more time?
Oh, no. I think the timing is right now, but I mean, in terms of we're way behind. No, I don't feel that we're way behind.
I mean, in terms of the research, you said we need to do more research.
No, in terms of the recreational use now, there's still, still a lot of literature talking about whether marijuana is even an addictive substance, whether it's, is it a gateway drug? And there's so many things that are associated with this whole topic of recreational use. I'm one, and I'll go on record saying that I still believe that we're not ready for recreational use.
Okay.
I've seen the impact of young persons who've been marijuana from a young age, from early teenagers, and I've seen them where they are now.
Okay.
And it's not a good thing. I think we need to still regulate that portion of it. So I support I'm not in support of recreational use at all at this time.
I had a conversation with my mom and my Aunt Betty, and my nephew Trent and I, and we were just being facetious with them.
Right.
And they're totally against any form of legalization of it.
No.
But my argument to them was, rum is do you worse than marijuana.
Right.
But we already have rum, so we don't need nothing else to add to it.
Right.
But is their argument. So when you say that we've seen how young people are affected by, yes, I've seen young people affected who started smoking from 14, 15 and let it take control of them. But I also see the same effects from rum.
Right, true.
And doing my research, and tell me, I'm sure you probably looked if I'm wrong, I know that up to maybe 1930, 1936, marijuana was legal.
Yes.
Then a particular director of the CIA went on a rampage to delegalize, illegalize it.
Right.
Okay. And but it was more considered a racist thing than a racist economic thing, because didn't want those brown to affect the cotton industry.
Right.
So it's got, so a lot of people are saying it's got a lot of misinformation, news or misinformation about it, that some people don't look at it the way others look at it. Oh, it's a gateway drug, it destroys you,
Right.
it does this. My ex-wife is to me, she's a firm believer that it's a gateway drug. I disagree. I personally, I don't think the Bahamas today is ready for full legalization of it.
Right.
I think when I look at what Jamaica's done, you could have, I think, maybe an ounce on your possession.
2 ounces, yeah.
And 5 trees in your yard and stuff like
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if we can go that far, but I think that recreational legalization or decriminalization of it, I don't have a major problem with. What I do have a problem with is a $250 fine.
Right.
And I think, you don't pay that for a running the red light, or you don't pay that for a seatbelt fine. So my thing is, why is not a $50 fine?
Right.
Why are we trying to put it so high?
I'm not sure exactly why, but let me just give you a background on myself. My background is I'm a forensic scientist.
Yes, I know that. That's kind of the reason I wanted you here.
And I was on the police force for 32 years, and so I saw both sides of it, from the scientific point of view and from the law enforcement side. And I will confess now that when I went on the commission, my vote was no for everything.
Okay.
From day one.
Really? Okay.
As I started to do more research, I did some stuff, research from the scientific side of it.
Yeah.
As I started to do more research, and you talked about the 1930s and the reason why it was criminalized in the first instance, and it was true, it was because the Mexicans were coming in across the border, and the brown people were allegedly influencing and taking all the women, and it was so high and doing so many things, and I, as you say, it had implications economically for the country, for America at the time. And so when I saw the history of it, because like you say, marijuana has been in the British pharmacopoeia from the 1830s or earlier.
Uh-huh.
So it was used medicinally for years. But, during that, it criminalized for a variety of reasons. And the more I researched it, and the more I realized. And also for the medicinal side, there was actually a member of our commission, Julian Mullings, who was a member of the commission, who died shortly before we had a chance to present our report. He was a nurse at the Princess Margaret Hospital, suffering cancer, and he was begging us, please, man, help me. And I remember hearing, he called me about 2 or 3 days before he actually passed. And I realized that there were benefits of medical marijuana. And so,
fentanyl as well.
Yeah,
God rest his soul,
exactly.
yeah.
That's why he spoke about the benefits. And so so my views changed in terms of medicinal, the research part of it, the decriminalization, and also the use by the Rastafarians. So I've changed. I've totally gotten. But I was always somewhat in agreement of decriminalization, because I felt that I remember being on the police force, and there was this 17-year-old student recently graduated from high school and was going off to university, and I think it was about a week or two before he was scheduled to go off. I don't know what ever happened to him in the end, but he was found in a car where marijuana was found. And I think it was going to Canada or the US, I can't remember. But it certainly had an impact upon him being able to finish his education at that time. I'm not sure what really happened to him. And so I said, my concern has always been, let's deal with the drug dealers, the fellows who are bringing this stuff in. Like the fellow with a little joint for personal use, let's give them, I wouldn't say a bribe, but certainly not be so, give them a criminal
Pay the
record.
ticket.
Yeah, pay a ticket, pay a fine. Now, Jamaica's situation, and we went to Jamaica in October 2019, I think it was, to see what they were doing.
Okay.
And so they issue a ticket. It's like a fixed penalty, almost like we issue for traffic tickets.
Okay.
Tickets. At the time, though, it was not really being enforced. They had the ticket books, but they weren't really issuing the tickets because they realized they had to have some common ground or some ground to pacify everybody because because they were saying that if you use it for 2 ounces less, you had it in your possession, you were using it for your personal consumption, there was no real benefit. We went to a smokehouse actually in Jamaica, and a fella came in, and you go in there and you say, "I have an ailment, my knee's not hurting," and they call a doctor, and the doctor say, "Okay, yeah, we'll give him strain A, B, C, or D." And it was interesting to see, they had different strains depending on what effect you wanted to have. The fellow was in there with a split, and he smoked one, and then he got another one, and so this was whatever benefit he needed was supposedly getting from this consumption of the marijuana in a controlled environment.
Okay.
So that is my view. In terms of a fine, I think it's to be a deterrent of sorts.
Okay.
$250 sounds like a lot, but I think, and the law or the recommendation we had made was sort of like a 5 strikes and you get a ticket once, you get a ticket twice, you get 5 tickets, and then if on your 6th ticket, then you'll go before the courts and you get a criminal, you can get a criminal record.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, I haven't read the legislation to that effect.
I don't remember seeing that in it. I may have
Right.
missed it, so
So the intent was to just give you a fixed penalty, you pay that small fine, and you move on, and you have 5 opportunities to do that, and then if you go beyond that. Because again, it can become addictive, people can become dependent on it. We know that there are functional marijuana users who I'm sure we'll be surprised to know the number of persons who are actually using marijuana and functioning, or appearing to be functioning quite normally. But I think it was a deterrent to sort of not give the whole scale out of marijuana in Jamaica.
Okay.
And so we, from our commission, our recommendation was to follow that model. We saw it in action. We had discussions with the mental health people. We had discussions with their licensing authority. We had discussions with the equivalent of our drug agency. And again, they were still in the process of doing research and getting information.
So they couldn't give you any definite concerns or any definite...
No, not at that time, because at that time, it was introduced in 2015, the legislation was passed, 2016 it started to take effect.
Okay.
And then we went in 2019, so they were still, and quite a number of them use the expression, we're still fixing the bicycle while we're riding it.
Okay.
So
I
they were
gotcha.
still trying to get the research in to see exactly. I'm not sure how much data they've gathered, but they should have gathered a lot more data since then, and perhaps be in a position now to make some definitive decisions in terms of the full scale.
Did you get to go to Canada or speak to anybody
No,
from Canada?
we were supposed to go to Canada as part of the commission, but that's when COVID started, and so
Yeah.
that derailed us, and so we unfortunately.
So there's no real information to see how it's affected Canada as yet, because I'm interested to see, because Canada's outright legalized it.
Oh, yeah.
I understand all the smokehouses sold out the first day.
Yeah.
And not from young people.
No.
From people in asset.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how it's affected Canada, not the economy, because I know the economy part of it is great.
Right.
And I know when Colorado did it, I think they made $30 million in their first month or something
Right.
like that.
Yep.
So I'm kind of interested to see what kind of social effect it has had in Colorado, in Canada.
In those areas where it's fully legalized. And
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question, and I perhaps need to follow up on that to see now that Canada has been doing it, almost 10 years now, I think.
They've been not quite, but they've been
Almost
a
there,
while.
Yeah,
before
almost there.
COVID, I think.
Right, yeah, definitely before COVID. And so, yeah, it was been, 17, 18 maybe.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So it'd be interesting to see now what information they've gathered, because Health and Wellness Canada certainly was taking a keen interest in. So, they had the Ministry of Health, or their equivalent of Ministry of Health, looking at the medical part of it, and then you had the other agencies looking at the recreational and other impacts.
Looking at the research you did did you find, in terms of recreational, did you find younger people more for recreational, or that number, it didn't matter what the age group was?
No, overwhelmingly, the younger persons were definitely for recreational. The older ones, in the
So I in the minority then?
Yeah, the baby boomers were definitely known, the millennials and younger. Or in that
Overwhelmingly?
group, overwhelmingly for recreational use, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was surprisingly, we found that quite a number of persons supported medicinal use of marijuana, and of cannabis, and we were surprised with that.
I'm 100% behind the medicinal use, because
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of uses for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not even just medicinal, but there's other things you can do. You can make paper, textile,
Yeah,
stuff
right,
like that.
right,
Fiber for clothing and
Right,
stuff.
right.
So I'm all for getting fully into it in that aspect
Right,
of it.
right, the hemp industry.
and using the hemp and using all the benefits of it.
Yes.
I think a lot of people. We look at it, that fell only high, but it ain't just that it does. That's one aspect of it.
Yes.
And then a lot of people don't quite, and I know you did some research on the strains. I know a lot of people look at the THC and the CBD.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what the difference is to those two?
Okay, so the active ingredient that makes you high is the THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. That's the ingredient that impacts your psychosis and give the feeling of or being high. That's the THC. The CDB is also another form, and then you have CBN. They all they're chemical structures of the THC. They don't have that same impact on the body and on the brain and the functioning of the body, and so the THC is the one that you have to control.
Okay.
Now THC, the problem is that, the fellas who smoke for recreational or just to get high are the ones who are looking for that buzz from the THC.
THC, yeah.
But THC also has some medical benefits as well, so it's not totally eliminating THC.
Okay.
And what a member of our commission, Elliot Marshall, who lives in Canada, who's part of the cannabis industry,
yeah,
he says, it's a combination. In fact, the cannabis plant has hundreds of chemicals, and so they look at the different combinations and effect. And so, what makes it effective, even in the recreational industry, is that you try to get a strain that gives you the feeling that you want, but not to the point where it makes you addicted or it hampers your performance.
Okay.
And so the challenge with marijuana found locally on the streets of New Providence right now is that you may buy a bag of marijuana from one supplier that may have 5%, 10% THC. Tomorrow you buy it from somebody else and it may have 3 or 15% THC. And so each cigarette could be different. Each joint could be different.
The higher percentage is the
stronger and the stronger the worse impact. Now, what the regulated industry does is it sort of determines this particular plant or this strain or this bag or this batch of marijuana has 5%. This batch is 10%. So it's regulated. So when I go in there, and if my limit is it's somewhat like you drink 2 collects and you know that okay, two collects that's my limit. That's my limit, and that's it. If I do 3 or 4, I'll be right off.
Okay.
But the regulated recreational industry, you could actually go in and buy the percentage of cannabis that you actually need.
Okay.
And so okay, yeah, this is how I want to feel. I just want to relax. I want to calm down. I'm having some anxiety. Can't sleep. I'm having some pain. Actually, go and say I want this strain because it has 5%, 2%, 0.5%, whatever percentage. Determines and so the doctor would prescribe it to you based and I was told based on again the member of the commission, you would go in and you start a lower dose, and then if that's not making you feel how you like, you get a higher dose, and once you peak or you get that buzz or that feeling that you really want, that's your prescription.
Okay. So the CBD is not just, I mean, that's specifically for medicinal use. But there's some levels of THC that can also be used in medicinal use.
Yeah, and so for example, certain ailments you need that combination of THC and CBD and CBN to make the right dosage.
I saw one of the things, this is Alzheimer's. How does that affect?
Well, there's still a lot of research going on in that area, but yeah, they're finding that it has slowing it or certainly slowing the effects of
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. And then of course it's good for cancer treatments, pain mediation.
Oh, I get some pain in my knee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
apparently it's good. So morphine and some of the other drugs to manage pain find that the cannabis, the medicinal cannabis is much more effective.
Let's read a couple of texts. We're going to take a quick break, but let me read these texts before we take the break and come back and talk some more. Thank you, Pearlie. Rum has mashed you up, and after the legalization of rum, the people who enforced the rum laws needed work. So seeing they didn't want to close down an entire agency, they made marijuana the new problem. Why am I getting arrested for using marijuana in the first place? Whom am I hurting? Is it that I care about my health? If so, then what about rum? It kills. Marijuana shouldn't be illegal, and your guest knows it. Legalize it, period.
True.
I got some callers, some texts they don't play. Hello, Pearlie. I love the conversation today. I understand the conversation and concerns regarding consumption use by Bahamians. Can we also open up the discussion to involve growing for export? Our climate is perfect for outdoor growth of the cannabis plant. Let's get into that conversation surrounding cultivation and growing weed export. This can be a part of the education program plans of an arm of agriculture. It's interesting that all cannabis dispensaries and alcohol stores are owned and operated by the Canadian.
Therefore, regulation is in place to protect the public. We can talk about the export and whether the Bahamas, because I think when I went to one town meeting, it didn't. The Bahamas may not have been good for growing it here because of the high salt in the soil. Maybe I'm wrong, but you could correct me and maybe come back. This is Pearlie for Z Live today. So happy to be with you, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Take a stand, everybody.
And shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Are you ready to elevate your day with a burst of flavor? Look no further than Dunkin', your ultimate destination for everything delicious. From our freshly brewed coffee that is sure to pick you up, to our signature frozen beverages that will cool you down. And don't forget our mouth-watering sandwiches, made to order all day. Dunkin' has it all. And of course, our lineup of fresh donuts, muffins, and more. Dive into a world of yummy flavors at Dunkin' and bring joy to your day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
I'm not afraid to take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand, We'll walk this road together through the storm. Whatever weather, cold or warm, just letting you know that you're not alone.
And welcome back to Z Live on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Yes, this is Pearlie Day. This is Pearlie with you today, filling in for Zhivargo today and tomorrow. He's on his he takes some young kids to the States to experience some businesses over there as part of his summer camp program. So if you want to call in and give your views, ask any questions, it's 323-6232. That's 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4316. 325-4259. 325-4259. Or you can call in the toll-free line 242-300-5720. Or Texas, powered by BTC, 422-4796, 422-4796. The texter asks about us getting into the cultivation and export of it. I remember coming to one of the town meetings saying that we can't grow the CBC or the THC within 20 miles or something, I could be wrong, of each other because of the relation that will affect the plant, because you want certain strains to grow here and certain strains to grow there. Is the Bahamas conducive for growing it and exporting it? Considering our neighbors to the south probably had a strong hold on the market.
No, I think the Bahamas, based on what we found, and speaking to persons who were in the unofficial industry, the grounds for the Bahamas are very, very fertile, and certainly I witnessed that certainly as when I was a member of the police force in Grand Bahama, where you saw some nice, viable, rich,
every time you use there's 200-300 trees and stuff. Grand Bahama was
hundreds of trees, and they're 5, 6, 7 feet tall. I went to one of the farms when we got a tip and confiscated the drugs, but I mean there were hundreds of plants there. So the climate, I think, is perfect in the Bahamas. Now, as we talk about marijuana for the hemp industry, and cannabis for the hemp industry and cannabis for the medicinal or even the recreational industry, they cannot coexist. And
Okay.
as you indicated, the cross-pollination of the plants from the hemp seem to be dominant. The plants that you want to use for medicinal or even recreational. Now, medical marijuana is also heavily regulated.
Okay.
And just like how we go into a pharmacy and buy a pill and it says it has 5 milligrams of whatever drug it is we're taking.
Uh-huh.
The same thing with the marijuana industry. So when you go into the store, as I indicated a little early, and you say you want to buy a 5 milligram dose of THC, you want to make sure that it's it's that.
Okay.
So if you start having this cross-pollination, then it affects the level of THC.
Okay.
And so, and again, too much may be detrimental, too little of no effect. And so you want to make sure that you have the levels of THC correct. So our research, and at the time, the prevailing view was that you needed to have these two types of cultivation at least 21 miles apart.
Okay.
And so on an island of New Providence, you couldn't have both industries. It wouldn't
Okay.
be viable to have both industries. The
So
hemp
you
industry.
decide where. So what would and call? I'm coming to you right now. Don't go anywhere. What was the commission's views on growing it and how should be zoned the Bahamas? Should be
So that was the thinking, that perhaps we may look at the Southern Bahamas as one region for hemp industry, and again, or whatever industry, and maybe the Northern Bahamas. But you wanted your islands sufficiently far apart so that you don't have this effect, so that when we say that we produce a seedling that will produce THC at 5%, 2%, or whatever strain we want, it's not going to be impacted. And so there's testing at every stage of the industry. And so it's an expensive industry.
Okay.
But
And
there's testing to make sure that this plant that I bought is a 5% THC to the time that it matures is still a 5% THC.
And some people may say, what you mean by that? It's the birds and the bees. Birds and bees help pollinate plants. Yeah. So if a bee lights on a heavy THC or hemp plant and want to go to another plant, that's where the cross-fertilization happens.
That's where you can have the problem. So if it's so close and that bee could travel from one farm to the next farm, chances are you're going to get this reduction in the THC content.
Caller, you on there. How you doing? Caller, are you there? Or did you duck me? I keep telling you, I know I worry, but just hold on, Angel. I can get to you. Okay, so when we talk about that, to the pharmaceutical industry,
Right.
And they have some heavy concerns in reference to this bill. As a matter of fact, they talked about visitors coming and bringing their medical marijuana cards and how do we regulate that. I think the opposition had a concern about people coming on cruise ships with their marijuana and how is that crossing borders is going to affect us and all that. And I can put it out there. Some people think the pharmaceutical people, and not me, some people think the pharmaceutical people only mad because they can be losing out on that big money play. And while that could be an issue, I think I understand what they're trying to say to ensure that, because they're the professionals, they're the trained scientists, they're trained in terms of what doses of medicine, how it affects, if when I go to my doctor to get my diabetes medicine, they ask you what else you're on, is anything else, how this affects that? So I guess they would give a more professional view to it. Did the commission look into that?
So at the time, there's several ways that it happens. You have local dispensaries, and then you have where you can go to a dispensary like I described at Smokehouse in Jamaica, and you can go there and you could just say you have an ailment, and you speak to some doctor on the telephone, or you speak to a doctor on the telephone, and they say, okay, give him strain A or whatever. Strain. And they had the strains, again, like I say, identified for different ailments. The pharmaceutical industry, again, when you're talking about medicinal marijuana or medicinal cannabis, you're talking about it has to be heavily, heavily regulated.
Okay.
And so there were two views. You have dispensaries where you didn't have to have really trained professionals. You just had, you identified the strains, you identified the content of the THC content or the CBD content or CBN content, whatever you're looking for specifically for that particular product. But I'm one who feels that it should be through the pharmacies.
Okay.
That it should be, as with any other drug, it is a drug. It's going to be impacting, it should be heavily regulated, and that there should be tight controls. Now, I know there's a member of the commission, my friend from Oakland, California. If he's listening, I'm sure he's probably disagreeing with me, because in that part of, in Oakland, they do dispensaries, and so you just get training for it, and you understand it, you have your security controls and things of that nature. But I still believe in the initial phases, it should be regulated by pharmacists in a more structured environment rather than a dispensary.
Now, I can bring the elephant in the room up here now.
Mm-hmm.
You could get a 6-slip easy. And whether people will hear this or not, You can get a sick slip easy in this country. If you feeling little sniffles, you can call your doctor and your doctor, hey, listen, I don't feel good. I need to be off 2-3 days, and you can get it. Not every doctor.
Yeah.
I know. I tried to get it from my son, and he told me no. Right? So not every doctor does it.
Right.
But I think this opens up another concern that I have, and I'm sure a lot of other people has. If I say now my knee bothering me, or my pressure a little high, I need something, I can go to the doctor and easily get a medical certificate.
Right.
And I don't see anywhere as being that in this, and maybe I missed it, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, that issue of it. And that's a major concern that I have with this, all of this, with the just medicinal and not recreational.
I think, I like I said, I've not looked at the legislation, and sorry, but I'm sure there must be controls in it for persons who prescribe or who do not follow the protocols. Doctors who would dispense marijuana, medical marijuana, would need to do training, their certification that's available, so that you know, again, it's not just I just go and start prescribing medication, medicinal cannabis. One of the members of the panel, Dr. Linwood Brown, was certified and is certified as a licensed medical cannabis distributor or prescriber.
Okay.
And so there's training, because you have to understand the whole pharmacology, you have to understand the whole thing. So it's apparently it's pretty involved for you to get into that industry to be able to prescribe. So it won't be every doctor saying I can now start writing prescriptions. I hope it's not that free.
I would hope not too.
Yeah, there should be some degree of training, and so you fully understand, because it's new. It's relatively new in terms of the industry. Like I said, it was in the pharmacopoeia from 1830 in the 1830s. But this is now a new aspect of it, and so hopefully one of the requirements should be the doctors should have the certification and recertify on a regular changing industry. And so that's why I believe that the pharmacies are better able to dispense rather than just a dispensary and anybody just saying I'm going to open up a dispensary.
I would hope. I hope you do. I hope you do the proper training on it, and that it's properly regularized, so that be sure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands.
Exactly.
This must be you talking about. Listen, my friend got roped upon Grand Bahama for having a thriving 2-acre weed farm.
Yep. Unfortunately, it is still illegal to cultivate marijuana in the Bahamas, and that's plain and simple. And right now, until the laws are changed, that's how it is. And unfortunately, they were part of a black market and an illegal market, and yeah.
Okay, we can talk about the expunging of rackets in a minute, but read a couple of these months. Pearly, we can't grow food for ourselves, and we're talking about weed for export. This is the reason we import weed now. It's the reason we import it because we can't grow it illegally. Marijuana cannot be shipped because of the potency. It might turn back into a person. Pearly. I have a bird cage, and my wife has a beauty salon at the same building. I feed the birds. See, I can leave that one right there. I can leave. See, y'all have set me up here. Y'all really like to do this to me, hey?
Yeah.
I saw something that in the bill it says, and the government is going to continue, and I'm so happy they're doing this, expunging records of people who have small quantities of marijuana. Right. And I think it's under 30 grams. I guess that's about an ounce?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm fine with that. But again, it also says that if you're convicted under the Dangerous Drug Act, you cannot be a distributor or manufacturer. But if you expunge my record,
right.
But even though you expunge my record, I still can't get into the business.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. Yeah, you cannot be convicted of a marijuana offense or a cannabis offense. Is what the initial draft legislation spoke about. And certainly, if you are convicted of possession with intent to supply, that record can never be
expunged. Yes, expunged, I know that.
Right?
Fine.
So that totally excludes you.
Yeah.
Now, if you were, I'm not sure exactly what this legislation says, but the view was that, and this is one of the arguments.
No, it's just saying that they
any
conviction, but it wasn't clear. That's the question. That's what I'm concerned about.
Right. Because this is one of the arguments that they had in Jamaica. Because a lot of the persons who are experts in the field, the Rastafarians and persons who would have most likely been part of the system, I think Jamaica would have made allowances that gave them the opportunity to become part of the industry because they wanted Jamaicans, and recognizing that a significant number of the persons who probably would be interested in the industry would have had some brush with the law. They wanted to make it give them an opportunity to be a part of the industry as well. And so I'm not sure, again, like I said, I need to look at the legislation to see exactly what it says in terms of full exclusion. But I guess the thinking is irrational, as if you've been an abuser, you've been breaking the laws all your life, or part of this. We can't now let you set up a shop and say, well, okay, let me run a legitimate business. So I guess it is a contradiction of sorts, because if you're expunging my record, then that means I'm clean and
I should be able to do it.
I should be able to do it, yes.
Okay. In Oakland, California, to qualify for a marijuana license, preference was given to individuals who were previously incarcerated for marijuana offense.
Yeah, that's correct. And that sounds like, that's something that Elliot Lockett Marshall, used to talk in Oakland. And again, it was because most of the persons who would have been affected by the draconian laws against marijuana use would have been the blacks, the minorities, and the persons who, and so the attempt was to make them part of the industry, not to exclude them. And so that was the thing, and I think it was a good idea.
They're the experts.
They're the experts, and as I said to you when we were off air, that we met some farmers of the industry in one of the family islands, and they were talking about how good their product was. And my thinking was, well, these are the kind of people that you should put around the table.
I agree.
They yes, it was an illegal industry, or still is an illegal industry that they're part of, but they bring a whole lot of expertise. And the person who was talking and sharing with us when we had one of our meetings at a Rastafarian camp, he was sharing how good the product was, how rich the product was in THC. And he said that was from trial and error and experimenting. So they know the soil, they know the area, they know the water supply. So they had technically perfected the industry. I mean, I'm not
without going to school.
Without going to school. And so I'm saying these are the kind of people that you have to bring around the table. We cannot ignore them. And so if perchance they would have been involved in some criminality, there must be some way to get all of this expertise to make it legitimate for them to allow legally profit from their expertise.
Amen. Carly, on there, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
I'm not going to say much because I got to come on tomorrow. But,
yeah, I know.
But I do want to formally thank the commission for the work that they did. It was and a lot to really make the recommendations we made came from their work.
Okay.
And I really think that while people are taking a victory lap this week, and that's great, understand that foundations came before, and a lot of the work was built on that. And I noted, having sat in Parliament yesterday, that both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health both talked about the fact that they relied heavily on the Commission's work.
Okay.
Which I think solidified our recommendation that farmers had to be involved in the process. Because
I'm happy you called. I was hoping you would call.
That was critical. I do want to clarify one thing real quick.
Okay.
The issue of whether persons who have been arrested for minor offenses and got expunged, would they be able to participate in the industry? And the Minister of National Security was there, and he indicated that since expungement means it's like it's never happened.
Okay.
Those folk wouldn't have an issue. Now, you got arrested for possession with intent to fly and those sort of things.
Okay. And I wasn't sure. I probably missed when he said it, so I'm happy you clarified that.
But that was clarified in Parliament yesterday because the Leader of the Opposition had asked for that clarification.
So I know you on. Who you on with tomorrow? Dwight on?
No, man. I was on with Dwight today, and I'll be on with Norrie tomorrow.
Oh, beat me to it. Okay.
I might stick around, even talk some football.
Do that, please.
I do want to say publicly, we thank the Commission for their work. They were pioneers, and really, they really did a wonderful job of trying to be as objective. And if anybody's ever read the report, we've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, you could see the objectivity and the concerns about how do we progress on this nationally in the work that they did. And they should be lauded for their work.
Thank you so much.
What I wanted to say.
I know you can't say too much, but I'll ask you one quick question. I know a member from St. Barnabas, Shenandoah, the deputy leader, a part of they're recommending that they should take out totally, and that's the issue with cruise ship passengers coming in or visitors coming in with medical.
So let me clarify that. He read that directly from our recommendation.
Yes.
So initially in the draft that we first saw, there was this idea that people could come from other jurisdictions with their cards and get refills or whatever else here. All right? Obviously, we thought that was a bad idea. We worked with the Medical Association and advocated that every prescription that is being filled in the country, by law already, should be written by a physician in the country.
Okay.
Right? So there's reasons for that. One of the biggest liability. If I have a problem as a pharmacist with a prescription, And as a doctor here, even if I don't know that doctor, I can call a medical counsel. I can go in the Gazette. I can find that doctor's information and confirm before I fill. Right? There's an inability to do that with somebody who's coming from Czechoslovakia or Finland or even Arizona.
Okay.
All right? Forget connectivity issues, time differences, and those other things. So what we had suggested was that, and then Medical Association did the same, that all prescriptions had to be filled here, and that physicians would have to assess patients here, even if they're visitors. So now the government did make that change. Apparently, what they didn't do was go through and make the change again. They just added that change into the section about the visiting person, when it really, once the person comes with a prescription from a doctor, whether they're Bahamian, foreign, visitor, resident, whatever, it's irrelevant whether they're visiting. They have a prescription from a Bahamian doctor, we just fill it.
Okay.
And as a controlled substance, all we need is an ID. Okay? So the fact that now they have to get it written by a doctor licensed to practice in the Bahamas, made the visiting aspect of it and their medical card completely null and void for pharmacists.
So, city, and I leave my pressure pills home. I can't get it refilled here?
No, sir. No, sir.
And there's no avenue for you to consult the doctor in New York?
CVS, your Walgreens can't even call in and say, transfer the prescription. Under law, the only prescriptions a pharmacist in this country can fill is by a medical practitioner licensed to practice in the Bahamas. The same way you can't bring your lawyer from the States and they come to practice in Bahamian law. They have to get something from the Bar Association that allows them to temporarily practice.
Okay. So but my lawyer from Jamaica could come and do that, right?
Well, it depends if he's called to the British bar, the English bar.
Okay.
See, but these are those things that are commonalities. And
yes,
so
yes.
That was the big issue for us on that. And it was simply, we felt it was just something that somebody overlooked when they made the change and they didn't change the entire section. We read through the bill with maybe a little bit finer tooth comb because we're the people in the practice.
Yes.
And so we made that recommendation, and that was one of the things that he brought up.
I can let you go because I don't want to stay in naughty thunder, but I can ask one last question. All right. He can kill me. I can see him cussing. I can see him texting me right now. Tell me get off that. You know what phone.
I can say it's something. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know that. Okay. And I heard you answer this question before, but I'm gonna throw it at you again. You're not only after the money, man. Y'all mad y'all ain't getting the money.
Okay. Let's and I think your guest has perfectly elucidated this. Okay? Perfectly. Okay. The numbers, the diseases that are being recommended for that.
Yeah.
A smaller number.
Should be more.
I don't know if there should be more, but the science will tell us whether the disease should be or should. What I'm saying is the amount of people that suffer from these diseases are less than 2% of the population. Okay? Because this cannot be a money grab, but the fact of the matter is,
see, I didn't know that.
Okay, I'll throw a question at it. How many people do you know have kids who suffer from intractable, or in other words, unstoppable disease?
I don't know of any, I think.
Okay, I'm in the business, and I only know 3.
Okay.
Okay? So we're not talking about, 100,000 patients.
Okay.
We're not.
So
it's talking about a very small amount.
So it's not an economical gain for the pharmacies to do this?
It's probably going to be more headache for us to stock this stuff and go through all of the hoops than it is. But the key here is this. Those patients are also on other meds. And what we want to make sure is that they are safe in their totality of their treatment.
Right, true.
All right?
Okay.
The real money in this is going to be in growing and processing. And every Bahamian can get into that. And the government has made it to where it has to be 100% Bahamian for those two. That's what people need to be jumping on.
Okay.
Growing and processing.
No, but I thought manufacturing is a minimum of 30% for Bahamians.
Manufacturing is the minimum of 30, but I'm talking about processing.
Okay, I got you.
Of taking the plant from the field to where it becomes an actual product of the plant.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
That's where your money's going to be. Where your money's going to be.
I ain't gonna ask no more questions. I feel like hearing naughty mouth. So.
Well, once again, thank you so much to all of the commission members. I really applaud you.
And thank you for calling. I was hoping you'd call. I'm saying, let me throw this out, and I figured you would take my bait.
All right.
Take care, my brother.
But can I just say, Pearlie,
Yeah.
just to sort of segue or piggyback on what the caller said, I really want to thank him because the commission did work hard. And they really, it took us a little longer. We issued a draft report, and then there was some time before we did the final report. But the commission did take this job very, very seriously, and we wanted to make sure that we again found a solution that was best for the Bahamas. And then, we had lots of fights. We had, we stopped speaking to each other for a couple of days because there was this group that was pro-recreational. There was a group that was, just anti-everything. And so we had to come to the compromise and say, hey, listen, what's happening around the world? What are the benefits and how best we can make it available for the Bahamian public?
Okay, let's take this then. Callie on the air. Callie on the air. How you doing? Callers them get a little impatient. Callie on the air. How you doing?
Hey, good day. All is well?
All is well. So happy that you called.
You're talking to Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Yes, that's me.
Hey, Mr. McCartney, you might recognize the voice.
Okay, good.
The TA. I said I ordered a TA.
Okay.
All right, so it's very good that you get involved in this. You were a very good assistant commissioner of police.
Thank you very much.
Very sharp mind.
Thank you very much.
I really feel that in the whole Bahamas, it's 70% of people who using marijuana on a daily basis.
Say that again. 75
to 70%.
Okay.
People are using it on a regular basis.
Regularly using marijuana. I mean, like people like me, you in the business, have their own businesses and stuff like that, regularly.
Okay.
You understand? So the way doing the law, like I said, people need to make people easier to access it. And smart, like how it is with alcohol. If you are a person who can take care of themselves and stuff like that, you should be able to grow like 1 or 2 plants in the back of your yard or for recreational use. I think that's what they missed it with the whole. They have to bring the whole thing to fruition, man. Because I really feel if they put it to a thing where they came to the Bahamian public, referendum, not like the
gambling one,
the gambling where they do what they wanted to do anyway. So, the politics.
That was but the Prime Minister said that was an opinion poll.
No, man, that's politics. They got their hand in that. They getting their share. Everyone know what's going on with that. We see him and everyone live around here.
Okay.
We know what happened with that.
We can leave that one for now.
So, you understand? But the Bahamian people, I feel they would say that they would approve it for recreational use as well. You understand? So they need to stop going halfway and go full in on this. And I waiting to see what comes out of it. I'm not sure if you are having any companies or any advice or an advisory role of anything like that, Mr. McCartney.
No, I have not been approached, but I'll make myself available. But let me just say that I agree with you to a certain extent in terms of the recreation. My only concern would be before we go whole scale legalizing it for recreational use, again, perhaps being sure that the strain or the concentration of THC in your product is consistent. And so to the point where we can get where growers are growing the right strain, and you don't, like as I said earlier, you don't want to get a batch of 15 milligrams today or 15% and another concentration another time. I think if we could regulate it to the point where, this is my dosage, I only want 5% a day, or I only want 2% a day, I can actually go and get that product that's qualitatively identified the concentration of the marijuana, because you hear so many stories, and you talk about people getting laced and people having different, and you see the impact it has on different people. And so I think if we could have it so that, like, you could go in the drugstore and buy Tylenol or whatever drug at a particular percentage or concentration, you can do that for recreational use. I feel a little more comfortable, but not where it's just growing in the backyard and you're not showing to produce a plant with a certain concentration. Okay. So when you go to your dispensary or you go to your farmer or your grower, you could actually buy a plant to say, listen, I only want 2% THC.
Okay. I agree with that aspect, because if you look at it, even if they legalize it or not, they still get it.
Exactly.
Some way or another.
Yeah.
And
that's my concern.
That I feel is causing a lot of the crime right now, territory and things of that nature.
Right.
You understand? And that would eliminate that portion of the crime we feel right now. We only have this crime right now where you killed my brother or you killed my cousin and I coming back for revenge. It wouldn't be that aspect of that real gang violence, whereas I have a territory with feeding on how much money I make in this territory,
Okay.
and things of that nature. So that's
right.
how I looking at it. That's how I looking at it.
All right.
Good
Thanks for calling. Appreciate that. We're going to take our first break, take our second break, and the news break. When we come back here, hang around a little while longer.
Yeah, I'll hang around.
Call us. Don't go anywhere. We'll take your calls. We'll get more into this discussion. Yes, we're talking about cannabis, marijuana, weed, whatever you want to call it. This is Pearly filling in for Z Live, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
It's Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Start your mornings at Burger King Nassau with the new Independence Croissant Combo. Enjoy a buttery croissant with your choice of ham, sausage, or bacon along with eggs, red onions, and a tropical sauce. The new Independence Croissant comes with BK's classic hash browns and your choice of tea, coffee, or orange juice. Don't miss out on the new Independence Croissant Combo, available all month long at Burger King Nassau. Happy Independence, Bahamas.
Are you a business owner or HR professional? RF's team of pension specialists are here to empower your employees with market-leading retirement solutions and to make implementing group pensions easy and cost-effective. With RF, starting or switching your company pension plan is a breeze, and there are no setup fees. If you're looking for strong investment performance and low fees, visit rfgroup.com/empower and empower your team to retire comfortably with RF Group Pensions today. That's rfgroup.com/empower.
The car?
I marched the car. The lady who run into me marched the car.
I hope she had insurance.
If she had insurance, she hop out, pull out her phone, pull up the Royal Star Assurance app, and bang! She was on a video call with a RSA rep, sending pictures of her damage, my damage, filing a claim on the spot.
For real? Our insurance have that kind of app?
You gotta go to RSA for that.
Download the RSA app today or visit rsabahamas.com to submit your claim online. Live chat available weekdays 9 to 5.
I'm not afraid, I'm in, take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm.
And we're back. Z Live, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. It's so good to be here today. It's a different feeling to be here 2 o'clock in the day. Yeah, I had lunch though, so I'm good. Let's quickly look at a couple of these texts. It says here, "Hi Pearly, great show. What it means by intent to supply? Is it the amount you have? Explain, please. Thank you. Intent to supply, and you intend to sell it. But I think over 2 ounces is considered intent to supply, or if it bagged up.
Yeah. So the law, as it was written, I don't think the Dangerous Drug Act was amended, but it was 2 or more packages. So anything, so if you had, no matter the quantity in the 2 or more packages, but the police used this discretion, certainly while I was a member of the force, to see, if you just had 2 little half bags, they wouldn't probably charge you, unless you were a fellow who they were trying to get for something for a little while.
Yeah.
They may not charge you with intent to supply. But it's usually the quantity and how it's packaged. So if you have 10, 15 half bags, they know that cannot be, they'll know that's not for your personal consumption.
Yeah.
You're probably selling it. And again, so they look at, yeah, definitely, yeah.
You can't smoke all that, right?
Right.
Well, some people
might try. And so I think the law, for example, in Jamaica, they say anything over 2 ounces is considered your supplier.
Good afternoon, Pearly, and your guests. Can you answer a question, please, or shed some light on the legalizing marijuana? There is a lot of mom and pop liquor stores, other small drug stores selling marijuana. Now, like candy, you walk in, they know who come for what they sell in bowl. Is it legal? No, it's not. It is not legal to sell marijuana anywhere in the Bahamas. All right, so if you walk in one little shop and fella take you in the back to sell you a half bag, that is illegal. If you walk in the back of someone's yard and they sell you two for $5, it's illegal. Right. Call you on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Pearly, and good afternoon to your guests.
Hey, my brother, how you doing?
All right. Pearly, I agree with you, man. I like how you said that the penalty of $250 or whatever is kind of steep for being caught with a small amount of marijuana.
Uh-huh.
I personally feel as if, there shouldn't be no fine at all.
Okay.
I think the problem, Pearly, that we have is we are not basing it on facts. We're basing it on emotions and feelings and preconceived notions, things like that.
Okay.
Right, because like how you were talking earlier, there was a time when marijuana was legal, that there was no problem with it. You know what I mean?
Back in the 90s?
You know what I mean? America had, during the wartime, America had a video that they did for the armed service called Hemp for Victory.
Uh-huh.
You know, that kind of way. So it is a versatile plant. It has all type of benefits. From paper, best paper, it does wonders to the soil, all type of benefits. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yes.
So we need to look at it now because, see, we are flowing on the mindset that criminalized it from the beginning wrongfully.
Okay.
If you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand where you're coming from, yeah.
It was an injustice from the beginning for the plant to be made illegal, right? So what we are doing now is we are operating on that same mindset, where we are treating it as if it's some type of hazardous material or some type of dangerous thing, where we have to watch how we have it come out in society when there are things that are much more dangerous that are readily available and accessible. You know what I mean? So I feel as if your guest, and I think he said he's a former police officer. I feel as if even his life of being one who fought against it is biasing his mindset right now.
Well, he did say, now, full disclosure, prior to the commission starting, he was no on everything.
Yes,
but after doing his homework and listening to people talk, he has changed his views.
He started to soften up a little bit. Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that, see, he is still, though, in his mind, he still has that preconceived notion, and he is still going on what he has known the plan to be. And see, that's the problem. You understand where I'm coming from?
Now, understand, he is a forensic scientist now. His degree, he has a degree in chemistry.
Yeah, okay, but another thing too, Pearly. Like, look how long in our society individuals for decades have been selling and using marijuana with no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have never had any instances where we say, oh, boy, we can't be going to buy marijuana because something might happen. It's dangerous. Some things some people selling or whatever. Like everything been going cool, so we don't need no one to come in and try to mess up what we have going. You understand where I come from? Because this might sound crazy, right? But from the time I know myself, right?
Okay.
You could buy a half bag for $5, and that ain't changed for decades. You understand where I'm coming from?
That's true.
So and if you were to see now, people were to get into a business now where they haven't, but they want to do it now, you will find over time where those things will be inflated.
The scales of economy will kick in.
You understand where I'm coming from? So what I'm trying to say is that we don't need, right, this type of regulation when it comes to this plant. We are overdoing it, we are exaggerating it, and we are flowing on a preconceived notion that is wrong from the beginning. You understand? And all adults like me are asking is that we be allowed to do as we please with ourselves. Because in reality, right, you shouldn't lock up a person for smoking victimless crime. What is the crime when I sit down smoking a joint and the police lock me up? What am I being locked up for? What exactly am I doing wrong? What is the crime exactly? Define what is it that I am doing wrong. You understand? Because if I could sit down in the corner and buy me the highest proof rum or however they come, and I could be on the side of the corner sucking that down by myself, 2 big bottles, about to kill myself, and the police could ride past me, then it's not about, they don't care about what I'm doing to myself. All right? Now, all I'm trying to say is that all I'm asking for is that we stop this circus, all right, that is designed to only benefit a certain amount of people in the end who trying to corner the market and who trying to give us a new reality on whatever. We don't need that, all right? Let us leave this plant alone as a plant. Let us go back to the very beginning and say, you know something? It shouldn't have been made illegal from the beginning, all right?
And there's some people who say that.
And let us go from there, all right? And let us allow adults to do as they please, all right? Because there are much more dangerous substances that are readily available that an individual could go and purchase right now and consume and do whatever else with it, all right? So let's stop this foolishness because if I could go in a shop right now, buy me a bale of sugar, come diabetes. All right, so let's please stop this. Let's stop the circus, man, and let everybody say, you know something. Let's leave that plant alone, man. You can plant it. It's a plant, and if I got a sugar apple in my pocket, if I got a canap in my pocket, if I get a half bag of marrow in my pocket, it should be the same thing because all of them got seed in it, and it shouldn't be nobody's business if I get a fruit or something in my pocket.
Point taken. Thanks for calling.
Can I just
go ahead,
comment briefly and call? I think you made some profound points and good argument. And as you say, we are all of us, most of us are operating on the job that was done in the 1930s that caused us to think in a certain way.
They did a good job of marketing why it should be illegal.
Yeah, definitely. And when the more I read about it,
come to you, caller.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. The more I read about it, the more I realized. I said, "Wow, okay, yeah, we were really hoodwinked from then." But the point I'm trying, what I'd like to say though is, callers, and you raised some valid points. The point, though, is that the marijuana or the cannabis plant contains a drug that has some negative effects that can have some potentially dangerous effects. You know, research has shown that a child's brain or a human's brain is developing up until the age of 25. Some say 25. And studies have shown that the THC, oversaturation of THC could have impact on the development of these individuals. Now that we are doing a lot more research into the cannabis plant, I think we should still proceed with caution, because maybe if we'd done these kind of studies with alcohol, if we'd done these studies with other drugs and other substances, we perhaps may not be in the same predicament that we are, and the side effects and the ill effects that these substances have on the human body. But we had a great point with the marijuana plant or the cannabis plant to say, hey, research is now being done, and all my view is, and as Pearlie shared, my views have changed. But I'm just saying, let's proceed with caution and not just open the doors and allow things to happen. Because we've seen some negative effects of cannabis users, persons who become addicted or over dependent on the cannabis plant. And I've seen some persons who have been impacted by it.
Amen. Carly on there, how you doing? Carly there? Carly on there, how you doing? I guess my call is being a little impatient. Me, Carly, you there? Are we having some issues with the phone lines? Carly, you there?
How are you?
Hey, I'm good, my brother. What you saying?
Right here, man. And let me say good afternoon to your guest in studio as well. This is a very interesting conversation, even though I, too, am not a user of any substance at all.
Okay.
I just like the idea that for something that has been so controversial for so long, that there are Bahamians here who are heavy into the research to find out the pros and the cons, to discover the strengths and the weaknesses more than anything. And it propelled my mind back to the 60s, 70s, and early 80s when Bahamians were well known for doing intensive research, especially as it applies to biochemistry and so on and so forth. So it impresses me a lot to hear that the type of research that is being done into the cannabis plant in particular, is something that is noteworthy. He made a statement just now as it pertains to the on the human body, and if research as far as that was concerned on each individual alcohol product, perhaps we will have a better idea of how we can actually control that, seeing that the alcohol is not even a controlled product at all. I just believe that this is the springboard or another level of something we can catapult our chemists and our persons who are studying biochemistry and so on and so forth. We can actually put our names back on the map in terms of the level of research and due diligence we do into finding cures and other things that's going to help mankind. So I congratulate your persons in studio representing that body at this particular time. I believe it's about time that we really begin to put teeth and skin back into the game in terms of we doing research more than anything else as it pertains to these things. So thanks for taking my call. I will continue to listen and continue the great work, guys.
Thank you very much.
You guys are really on the cusp of something really great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Interesting. Next caller. Caller, you there? Caller, you on the line? I guess not. Caller, you there? I keep telling you all callers, please be patient with me. Please be patient. Are you there, caller?
Right here, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother. What's happening?
Man, it ain't a matter of being patient. This is a hot topic because I think this policy, the whole enactment, commencement of this industry is hitting home to some of the touch point issues that relate to us as a...
Wait, put it. Call back. Something happened. I hope you ain't run out of minutes.
And sound like he was going to be good.
No, and I'm sure he'll call back. Awesome. Dexter, there was a time when heroin was legal. I know about that time. Pearlie, we make dope illegal. Isn't a plan by nature? Who decided that it's illegal? Who says I don't believe in we're calling marijuana dope? So I think cocaine is dope. I think heroin is dope. I think opioids are dope. But I think I don't call that a dope. What about the non-smokers who legitimately want the medicine in pill form or a particular dosage? We need the regulation too. If you only do recreational, the people who need the medicine will be disadvantaged. I don't know if I agree with that. You comment on that?
But the intent, the medicinal cannabis law is targeting those persons who need it at a particular dosage.
Yes.
So that's going to regulate that. So again, because it's medicinal, it's going to be distributed or by pharmacists or persons in the industry.
So not just smoking, you can get it in other forms, right?
You can get it in different forms. You get it as drops.
Liquid,
you get it. You can get it as gummies. You can get it as edibles. So there are so many variations that you can legally get the dosage that you through this industry.
So you ain't got to be a smoker to get it.
No.
Call you on the air.
Good afternoon, Freddie. How you doing?
I'm good, my brother. What's up?
Great. Now, how long? See, I think a lot of people now believe that this complement of bills and everything, it can happen next week. But they can have a false hope if they believe that because the regulation and everything that they got to put in place. So they ain't going to be ready in 2 and 3 and 4 weeks.
No, I gather that much.
And another thing, jokingly, you will have more young boys become Rasta than anything. Do Rastas have bald head?
Yeah. No, you don't. The song says you don't have to be bald head to be Rasta. You don't have to have dreadlocks to be Rasta.
But a lot of people now can start going to the Rasta camps. They're Rastas.
I don't. And to defend I have some very dear good friends who are Rastafarians and are very much as legitimate. And when I say legitimate, are true Rastafarians. They ain't gonna let that happen like that.
No.
You ain't coming to the desk to smoke off them.
Someone mentioned that, so I said, if I didn't know you heard it before, plenty now can say they're Rastas now. They get into the Rastas.
No, it ain't gonna be that easy because a couple of brothers I grew up with, he ain't gonna let you come in their camp just like that because that's like you coming to the Catholic Church and getting communion when you're not a Catholic.
Yeah.
Or coming to the Anglican Church and getting communion. So if you haven't gone through the proper training or the proper teachings of this church, they ain't gonna let you. Trust me, they ain't gonna let you in just like that. It ain't gonna be that easy.
But see, on this whole, but once you're a Christian, that's the only one supposed to be taking the communion.
Right.
Yes. And in the Catholic Church, you have to be a Catholic to receive the sacrament. So in the Rasta, yes, you have to. Don't buy Catholic all my life. I'm telling you that.
No, I'm saying you have to be a Christian to take holy. Anybody who's not a Christian, they're not deserving of the body and the blood.
We haven't. Okay, understood.
Okay, good.
Thank you, my brother. Okay, he's getting deep in that religious conversation. Carly on there. How you doing?
Yes, Pearlie. How you doing? And how you doing, Mr. McCartney, Alan Johnson?
Hey, my brother. How you doing, Alan?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I know for sure, Mr. McCartney, what's your observation? As someone from going back to Kent that actually led at the time the Indians United for Cannabis Reform. Before everybody has joined the bandwagon, understanding the potential from the global perspective of cannabis, which extends beyond the smoking. I was looking at the aspect of the industry concerning the hemp and the other aspects that we don't seem to want to talk about at this particular time. I understand. No one has the testicular fortitude or the brain audacity to get ahead of the curve because we often submit to other pressures coming from other people. But I think one of the most important aspects that we should do is have ability to ask the humans what is it they really want. Not in the type of environment we have always done, which is control, opposition, and manufactured consent. I think the government of the Bahamas should go into dogs and turtles, pass a law in the proper context that allow for referendums to be held that comes from the people. You could set a benchmark of 50,000, whether it's all the signatures or whatever, to put a question on a ballot or something to the people. And then we get those individuals, whatever, would have the responsibility to first educate the people to get those signatures, and then in the same capacity, those who are for and those who are against get to have an informed educational debate in the public sphere. And then we as a country, as a collective, make the decision from an informed on how we want to pursue, how the different levels of regulation and control that we want to have, whether it be for hemp, whether it be for the production of things. I can tell you one thing for me personally. Yes, this has been put in place, but if you take what we did with the what is called photosanitary control that we was waiting on from the early 2000s, and we have yet to get it in any true aspect, then this is what is called an aspirational law that is passed concerning the ability control. Just want you to consider, I have a marijuana field, cross-contamination of, being grown, whether it's from illegal or illegal purposes, because, you don't instruct the bees and other pollinators where to go. Is it going to be in a greenhouse type environment? It's a whole lot of things that has to be done. Like others say, this may be at best 2 years, 3 years away if we actually put real control to make sure that these aspects of the environment doesn't happen.
Okay.
These are the discussions that we're not having. What is impact concerning the or medical aspect of this industry? It's bigger than the medical industry by multiples. And so if we really, really want to do things and really get into what is called a global perspective of how we do get involved, because we no longer live in this small village. Technology and other things have made the world a broader opportunity. And so hopefully, if not sooner than later, maybe the next administration would pick up the ball and have a real conversation that we can incorporate what is intended here and have a broader perspective of what is possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Let you hold that comment. Let's try to run through the one or two of these more calls, and then we get call you on the air. Call you on the air.
Good evening. How are you?
Why does that caller keep getting cut out? That's the same person who called a couple minutes ago and we lost him. Call you on the air. Let's try you one more time. Call you there.
Billy, what's happening?
Everything cool?
You and your guest. Listen, I don't know what all this hullabaloo is about smoking marijuana, You know what I mean? Because marijuana is subjected to nothing. Marijuana is subjected to everything. If you drink too much water, eat too much candy, eat too much cheese noodle, eat too much rice, eat too much chicken, eat too much pork chop. All the same thing. You understand? And what we really need to know, I don't know if you just said it earlier, is that in 1937, the Americans banned marijuana use because they didn't want the Mexicans to go back home.
Yeah.
Because the Mexicans comfort thing.
Yep.
They brought their marijuana with them to work on the contract. That's the reason they banned it to get them to go back home.
Exactly.
Because it was the THC or no THC or no ABC. That's the real reason there. So I agree with most of you callers that say what's the big hullabaloo, man? And if you make it legal, they can get it anyway. If you legalize it, they can get it anyway. And if 100% of the people in the country smoking marijuana, 100%, and then you make it illegal and you put all them things with Brave trying to put in there, right? How many people can be smoking it then? Only 10. So where you can make it, where the pharmaceuticals can make their money from? Who they can be dealing to? Because that's all it job won't do. I said just make it legal, man.
Okay. Thanks, brother. Thanks for calling. Let's try this call again. Call you on the air.
No, Bernie, this ain't like caller, this me.
What's up, Muff? What's happening?
When the phone hang up at him, when I did get you hang up the phone on me.
No, that was the phone that's cut out, I guess.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. McCartney.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with the earlier caller. You was an excellent assistant commissioner. But
Deputy, don't demote him, deputy.
I mean, deputy commissioner, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I disagree with the last caller, man. You don't have to train no rasta to find weed, man. You could go in any neighborhood in the Bahamas and find. You don't have to train a rasta, do something with your hair to find that. Now, I agree with the caller before who say, why is illegal in the first place? But I have a question for Mr. McCartney.
Go ahead.
Don't you think whatever the government do, it will always be a black market? Because like the texts say, Every restaurant and bar and car wash on you get find weed.
Not every now. I don't want the police locking it.
Not everyone, right?
You got
But
some.
on the road, you could find it easy like a mint.
Okay.
Right? Now, if the government make it legal and you got to go to this Spencer, right, and other places. Now, a person like me was smoking from 87. You think I get any Marathon Mall or any Southwest Plaza or downtown and gas is $5.50 for a gallon? I walk right out my door, man, and go in the corner and get my stuff what I need, man. And like the call, like Jeff say, like Johnson say, my boy Marvin Johnson, smokers can find it. If they want it, they can get it. When I was in Cuba, a half bag is execution and life, and I buy a half bag in Cuba. So who smokers, whenever they want it, they can get it. Now, I agree with Mr. McCartney. If you're too young, this weed could mess up your head if you're too young. I see fellas around here in my neighborhood, Bamboo Down, start smoking 10, 11, 12. They're zombies. They walking up around here barefoot and thing. I ain't start smoking till I was 18. I agree with him. Your mind got to be developed. If you start smoking too young, that got to be developed. But I hear the fella on Parliament say, if you make recreation legal, people could be smoking all over the place. Where you live? I ride down the street just now coming home to go get some lunch. Fellas walking down the street smoking. I passed on funeral by Zion South Beach Saturday. The weed scent potent in the road. I don't walk in the yard ask them where they get that raw from. Thing like that. And Mr. McCartney, and on the streets, the thing we call bongi weed. The dispensary might have that. You might want fresh weed. You might want foreign.
Right.
You might want Jamaica weed. You might want a homegrown weed. So the option to always be some black market and all this weed. I don't care what the government do. And recreation smoking is around for 100 years. There's no government, no police force can stop that because the population is 4,000 and there's 4,000. The only 400,000 is the population. So you can't police every citizen in the Bahamas. So it could always be a black market. I agree with him now. Now, you can't, like how it is now, young people, 10-year-old, 15-year-olds can still get their hand on it just like rum. Because you can't police all police station and all dispensary and everything. And like Pearlie say, doctor's certificate easy to get. And then some dispensary can be selling it on the side to people without prescription and things like that.
But you talking all the business, man. You talking all the business.
Yeah, I'm the street man. I spoken for 38 years, man. I ain't got nothing to hide. I powered by weed. I need weed like a car need battery. Function. All right? So I ain't got no shame, man. It ain't never supposed to be legal. Like Bob Marley says, it's supposed to be legal long time.
Interesting, but let me just quickly say that, and even in Canada, even in Jamaica, they're finding that the black market still persists. You know? So this is not going to get rid of the black market. I would support recreational in the sense that only for this reason that you would know exactly the quality of the product you're getting.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't have all those other pesticides and other things that may be used in the growing of the marijuana. You'll have a purer breed of marijuana and you'll know, like I say, 10%, 5% is your dose. You'll know you're getting a good quality product.
You can take this caller and I can ask you, you keep mentioning dose. I can ask you, how do we measure the dosage? Let's take this caller first.
Sure.
Caller, you on there?
Good afternoon again, Mr. Burley. How you doing, sir?
You done called me twice in your phone, get cut. Please, mate, keep it plugged in, whatever.
How hard this topic is, man.
All right.
Like I was saying earlier, I want to thank Mr. McCartney for the tremendous work that he has done on this policy. Him, along with others, the kind of integrity they hold, the individuals who started this work, and to see where it is in our country today.
Thank you.
I want to thank him for the tremendous work that he did. One of the things, Mr. McCartney, I wanted to ask, if possible, I didn't get to hear the first half of the show, but just wanting to take advantage of the opportunity. Is this, in fact, the same policy that you and the initial team would have worked on and put together by the time this administration came into to government? And if not, what are the changes that would have been made or have been made? The next thing I want to ask you is, should this act or policy, or should during this commencement period, we also speak to the possible social fallout as has been observed in other jurisdictions, like Las Vegas and others, where you see persons, it increases your social capacity in terms of the toll on your country. And then the other thing is, lastly, that caller that just called, he set it up so perfectly, and he said it so perfectly, the black market culture of it. That's
that's where the use of it is most prevalent within our country. And I would have thought, as a young leader in our country, that we would have used this opportunity to try and curb that behavior or culture in our country at this time, and find ways to help those individuals, communities, families transition from that illicit culture that we once knew into something more viable to the industry that's coming today, and that the act or this policy or during the commencement or even during the communication of it from Parliament by our leaders would speak to that in some kind of way. It doesn't seem as if they have done that in this moment. But my prayer and hope is that moving forward, we'd be able to highlight those demographics of it or those aspects of it that speak more succinctly to us. And again, like I was saying in the previous call that got cut out, it's I think Bahamians are, this is what you're sensing at an amount of calls, is it's high time we see policies that touch home and that relate to us directly as a people, something that we could see, feel, and touch. And I just want to say that there's a possibility of opportunities for many Bahamians, whether you engage with the substance or not. You could be someone that just provides prevention work from it. And so I want to encourage Bahamians to look beyond the stigma. It is something that we have to manage as a country. Everybody would have expected or wanted more education from a public health standpoint. And I don't see much. I see one or two lines in the entire document as it relates to public health. I think there could have been more, even, like I said, the social fallout. But I pray and hope that we look beyond the stigma as a people and see and use this as an opportunity to process issues as a country and how we go about coming to a decision in terms of what we do as a country. So again, Mr. McCartney, thank you for what you've done. And I'd like to listen and hear the answer to those questions, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin. Again, thank you for your comments. And like I said, the Commission worked extremely hard and we put a lot of work in this. But I think you raised four main issues, and you talked about whether the current legislation that was the bill that was tabled and the debate started yesterday is similar to what we had proposed in the Commission's report. And based on what I'm hearing, and I will admit that I have not read the legislation or the draft, the bill and the regulations and the act in its fully. And I'll certainly do that tonight to compare what's actually being tabled and what was presented or the recommendations. But from what I'm hearing, some of the things that we did recommend have been incorporated in the bills.
The minister did say they relied heavily on the Commission's report as part of their decision.
Yeah, and I must say that the Minister of Health and Wellness is a schoolmate of mine. We graduated from Queen's College together, and so he invited me to a meeting about a year ago, I think it was. We had a meeting, and I had the opportunity to share the Commission's views before the group that was looking at the.
You got Liberty now, blood.
Yeah, good man, good fellow. Minister Dowell is a good friend of mine. So I think it's similar to what we'd put forward. Again, I'd look at it with a fine tooth comb to see if what major changes. You spoke about should the act or look at the social fallout. One of the things that the Commission highly recommended was that there has to be a consistent public relations exercise where we continue to re-educate the public about this whole issue of cannabis, the good, the bad, the ugly, the positive, the negative, whatever. So there has to be continuous. And I would suspect that the government would certainly ensure that this happens in the coming months and years ahead. We also talked about doing research and gathering data and looking at things every 3 years, I think is what we recommend, 3 to 5 years review to see what impact it's having on us socially. Are we looking at increases in addiction? Are we looking at, they've done studies with high school students over the years. Are we seeing a reduction in the number of students and young people who are using the drug? And so, working in conjunction with all of the stakeholders, all the NGOs, the government agencies, to look at the statistics to see what is showing. And that's why the Commission recommended doing things incrementally and based on the data, based on the research to implement and move forward. We talked about 2 ounces and then we reduced it to 1 ounce. Okay. So we may find that one. And then the third question is about the black market. Yes, the black market will continue to thrive. The person is going to have to decide, do I go to a pharmacy or a dispensary and buy a product that I know or do I go and like the person saying, the bongi weed, I just go and buy whatever it is, and whatever I get today is what I consume. So the black market will continue to thrive. And if to get the regulated product, it will definitely cost more. The black market product will be cheaper. I mean, that's the reality. And so it's just continuous education. I think we need to just educate a lot more about this wonderful product, cannabis. It has some benefits. That's the reality.
Okay, let's take this caller, and then after this caller, we take our break. Okay, so caller, you on there?
But probably I get back to, we doing good today. We doing good. I say great show. But probably, I heard Mr. McCartney on the black market side of it. We can have that conversation. But probably I had to run this one by you because this one just hit me on my cellular. Now, probably, you got to come back at this topic without Mr. McCartney there, right? But I couldn't miss this opportunity.
Okay.
Really, did you happen to mention this great pivot side step that the government used this opportunity to drop this at this time, or I don't know if it was ever on the schedule, but just some fellas on the road saying that they bring this up to get rid of the whole corruption scandal, voice notes, this, that.
Yeah, I can defend the government on this one. They did say they were supposed to bring it last week, and they have been talking about it periodically, said coming soon, and they were supposed to talk about it last week, and they did say last week it's coming on Monday. So I don't know, we could do a little political spin and say, yeah, they threw this out, but I don't think so. I think this is something that they've been nagging for, and I think they've been doing their due diligence, and I just think it's coincidental.
Well, probably I can say this to you.
But if the people on the street saying that, let's go with the people on the street saying that.
Based on what Mr. McCartney is saying about the thriving of the black market, I believe based on that, there's going to be some further political fallout as a result of that then, because for the average young shop runner, holder, whatever you want to call it, to now understand that by this don't affect me, I can't just transition into, I still can be getting locked up. Like, I believe there's a possibility that there's going to be some political fallout from this then.
Interesting.
But like Mr. McCartney said, there's going to have to be a lot more public education, PSAs, and so forth moving forward. And we'll see how this plays out.
Well, I can drink, I don't drink tea, so I can drink my coffee and I can watch. Okay?
Just, don't mind the business that pays you in this half look like.
Thanks for calling. Let's take a caller. Don't go nowhere. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we can take this call. Let's take the caller, then we go on the break. Caller, you on there? Something tell me that caller get cut off. Let's take our quick break. When we come back, we got a few. We can do a wrap up and bring some other things in place. Pearly filling in for Z Live, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
We go everywhere. Shop early at Janae's Chesapeake Road annual back-to-school sale going on now. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, all school items in stock. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts, and a variety of colors and school monograms. Shop early and don't miss out at Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road's annual back-to-number. We go everywhere. Beat the rush and save, save, save at Janae's annual sale now.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport Convenience Stores, Western Bakery, DeGregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the time to reach your Grand Bahama Market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News Sales Representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
Attention Bahamas. Embark on an inspiring voyage with 2 new books by Hubert Ingram, Our Remarkable 3-Time PM. Learn of his exceptional leadership in steering the nation through local and international storms. These books are a treasure for all Bahamians. Are you into history or seeking inspiration? Then this is a must-read. Available at Dungalik, Logos, the National Art Gallery, and Chapter 1. Get your copies today. Be inspired by a legacy of wisdom and vision.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Are you a business owner or HR professional? RF's team of pension specialists are here to empower your employees with market-leading retirement solutions and to make implementing group pensions easy and cost-effective. With RF, the company pension plan is a breeze, and there are no setup fees. If you're looking for strong investment performance and low fees, visit rfgroup.com/empower and empower your team to retire comfortably with RF Group pensions today. That's rfgroup.com/empower.
Babe, you mashed the car?
I ain't mashed the car. The lady who run into me mashed the car.
I hope she had insurance.
If she had insurance, she hop out, pull out her phone, pull up the Royal Star Assurance app, and bang! She was on a video call with a RSA rep, sending pictures of her damage, my damage, filing a claim on the spot.
For real? Our insurance have that kind of app?
You gotta go to RSA for that.
Download the RSA app today or visit rsabahamas.com to submit your claim online. Live chat available weekdays 9 to 5.
I'm not afraid to take a stand, take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together.
And we're back. Z Live on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. This has been interesting, but let's look at a couple of these things. Pearly, they make dope illegal isn't a plan by nature. Who decides that it's illegal? Okay. What about the non-smoke? I think I read that one. Sorry, my bad. From the Washington Post, Portugal decriminalized all drug use, including marijuana, cocaine, and heroin, in an experiment that inspired similar efforts elsewhere, aiming a spike in the number of people who use drugs for a rise in crime. In one neighborhood, state-issued paraphernalia, powder blue syringe caps, packets of citric acid for diluting heroin, litters sidewalks outside an elementary school. See, and I have a problem with that part of it. I have a problem with that part of it. We can talk about that in a second. Pearly, I hope restaurant man them who was getting locked up for years and have been advocating for the legalization of marijuana, giving first preferences in the granting of licensing, and doesn't end up like the gaming industry where the government only granted license to a select few. Otherwise, all you will have is a black market situation where, like the 30-day liquor business, everyone will be growing and selling. Point. Pearly, you can tell older people who abuse weed at an early age, they talk fool and do fool because their brain frontal, which is computer of your brain, which controls judgment, memory, speech, sexuality, etc. Weed is the most psychotropic drug there is and can bring out underlying familiar schizophrenia in some people. Maybe. Heroin and cocaine was legal in U.S., Canada, and other locations. That's not so. Heroin and cocaine is not legal in those countries. I know that for a fact. I believe there are some high-profile fellows who want to smoke dope legally. Anyone in this country can get a prescription for anything, so I don't see needing a prescription being a hindrance to persons smoking recreationally. I pray there's heavy focus and more success than we are currently having on steering our young men, in particular, away for a life of smoking dope. Hi, Pearly. Who is your guest? I missed the beginning. It's Mr. Quinn McCartney, former Deputy Commissioner of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and former co-chairman of the Cannabis Commission under the Minister administration. Pearly, we make drugs illegal. Isn't a plan by nature? Who decides it's illegal? Pearly, it's cheaper for them to make Grand Bahama the hub for exporting cannabis. After all, they are the industry hub of the Bahamas and closer to the United States. And good afternoon, Pearly. Great show. A job well done. Looking forward to talking with Pearly Show. Let's keep throwing this out. You'll cause me get in trouble. Let's take this call and then I can ask you to make some comments, my brother.
Sure.
Call you on the air.
Yeah, Pearly, I just heard what you said. This is actually, Pearly, this time. This is Reverend Johnson from the Church of the Awakening.
Okay.
Under the law, you can't prohibit religious belief system or regulate that. So just that my church just started doesn't mean that we won't have access to the sacrament.
Amen. I understand.
Pearly, cocaine and heroin was legal in the United States. It was legal in the United States in the 19th and 20th century.
Oh, yes. I thought you were meaning now.
Cocaine was the original formulation of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I thought you were meaning now.
Synthesized in 1874.
Okay.
And up until the Narcotics Act of 1914, it replaced restrictions on cocaine in the United States.
Yes.
And by 1920s, it's no longer available in the United States. So, but they were legal. Maybe afterwards they found out the impact and effect that they changed it.
No, you're right. I thought you meaning in 2024.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying to you. No, it wasn't me who sent
And I mean the text. I thought the text was meaning in 2024. That's why I said
just telling you. But just one quick question.
Okay.
To both of you in the studio. Just a simple question. If I get a fine for being in possession of marijuana, and marijuana is not legalized for me to be in possession of it without a prescription, then how is it expected for me to be in possession of it, unless you admit that it is available in the street? Thank you.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and it's a catch-22 because again you're saying okay you can have it, but it's illegal. You still have it. We can give you a little fine. Yeah. So it's something that it's I try and minimize criminalizing too many of our young people. I think that's perhaps the greatest benefit of it, if you want to call it that. Because you know too many people have had their lives ruined because of being arrested and locked up and charged for being in possession of small quantities of marijuana.
Right.
And so this is a step, I guess, a small step towards eventually legalizing marijuana use. I think, but I'm hoping though that it's done. If it's done incrementally. Because like I say, initially when the commission made its report, we talked about 2 ounces, and then we said, let's go to 1 ounce because 2 ounces is still a large quantity of marijuana to have in your possession. So we came to a compromise on 1 ounce. And we said, okay, you can have 1 ounce. You would have got it on the black market, so you're legitimizing the black market somewhat. So it's kind of a paradox. It's a catch-22 situation, but it's a small step towards hopefully minimizing the number of persons who are deemed criminals because of the possession of small quantities.
Now you keep saying 3%, 5%, 6%. Caller we can take. You can be the last caller. So hold on, caller. Don't go nowhere. Right. How do we measure it? I know that you can take some and shake up, in the pharmacist, and you can see the color, and you know what the percentage is. Right. How do we do that with marijuana?
No, so you extract the THC from, you measure the quantity of marijuana. So you say you blend or you grind up the leaves and you get a particular weight of the substance of the leaves, the crushed material, and then you extract the substance, the THC from it or whatever you're looking for. So you can extract THC and separate it from the CBD and the CBN and the other products, and then you titrate that or qualitatively determine how much is in that. So let's just say you have 1 gram or 1 ounce of marijuana product, and you extract the THC, and then based on the amount that you extract, then you could determine this was 10%, 5% THC in this particular batch. So the pharmacist will actually do that. So the pharmacist won't do that. So the pharmacist will get the product with the amount already determined. So they will know that this batch of marijuana contains 3%, 10%. Okay, but that'll be done by the from the processing side and the manufacturing side. They will then determine this product has 2%, 3%, 10%, and then they'll send these different batches to the pharmacist. So just how you go to the pharmacy and get your blood medication, 5 milligrams, that was determined by a chemical in a chemical lab. The processing.
Super. Call you on the air.
Hey, Pearly.
Hey, what's up?
Mr. McCartney.
Hey, Papa.
Hey, good afternoon, Papa.
Okay, Mr. McCartney, I hear you say y'all been doing this like for 10 plus, a decade plus, must be 15 years. So I was wondering, if the government suggested this, or because you say some of the things y'all recommend, it seems like the government going ahead and doing it. you guys came up the commission. That's what you call you guys. You guys came up with the $250. But if you get, if the police of the, like a
So
ticket rather than,
you're asking if the
going on
fine...
your record or going to court, if you guys who came up with the amount?
No, I don't recall the commission giving a specific dollar amount. We made 24 recommendations to the government when the report was tabled in 2021, just before the...
None of the recommendation was to deal with the amount?
We recommended a fine, but I don't think we gave a specific amount for that particular fine, if I recall.
How you feel about $50 or $40 or $20? You think that's enough, or you think they should leave it like to the $250?
The 250 may seem excessive, and like as was shared earlier about, when you look at fixed penalties for traffic offences, it may seem excessive, but I assume that the large amount is hopefully it'll act as a deterrent, because if you get caught three or four times in a particular period of time, that could be a significant tax on
you. Catch me once I deterrent because that's $250.
Not no 600. And that's really. I wonder how. It's like nothing changed. But tell me something. So when the police come and find under 28 grams, like you say, or whatever,
right,
and still give them the ticket or have to pay the $250, the man could take the weed, or they can leave them with the weed?
No, I would assume...
It sounds like a joke, but it's a serious...
No, I hear what you said.
Serious question.
I think they can take it from you.
I assume that...
From them, or they can let them smoke the weed because they're charging them $250.
No.
For $5 bag of weed, you're paying $250, so you might say that you keep it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
even if it was an ounce, I think it's too much, $250, even if it was 28 grams.
Right. But the drugs I'm sure would be confiscated.
What you do, did y'all recommend, bring something from the floor? Did you say, give them back the weed, let them smoke it, or we can take it?
No, definitely not. The weed, because it's an illegal substance, because the police will confiscate
you see why this sound problematic and complicated in the black market could be there to make their money?
Oh, yeah,
Tell me something. So some people have to, not suggesting they do it, but it might happen. Like, not saying to suggest them to do it, they can lie to the doctor because the doctor can't tell you what you feel in your pain. If you have the medical card from the doctor to say you have an ongoing pain, a knee problem, asthma problem, a pain in your teeth or pain in the hair what's growing on your head, right? If you say something like that, right, would you still be charged at $250 or be, what you call that, arrested or questioned or ticket?
No, if my understanding and how it works in Jamaica for sure is that, and in Canada, is that if you are prescribed, you'll be prescribed a particular. So it may be the raw material, it may be a tablet, it may be a drop, it may be different dosages.
But it just simply if it's just something to smoke.
And that could be the form that you get it into smoke. So if you have a medical card and you have the prescribed amount in your possession, then there's nothing the police could do.
Okay, they got it. That just does keep you weird.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because
too much $250, man. You can make criminals. You can cost them run from the police. You can cost them lie to the police, hide from the police. If they know, well, look here. They say it's just so complicated and problematic, Dread. Why do you do it? I don't know if to tell Prime Minister Davis thanks or why you do it that way. Oh man,
it's a first step, and I like you say, Papa. I hope it's something that it's reviewed.
Let the have a first step, and you should be appreciative, right?
Right.
Like just saying, if you know something is being done wrong, to do it the right way. Why pussyfoot around and take so long to do something to make it the right way? You're still making criminals out of people.
No,
I lie. They get into the doctor to say the doctor can't even tell you if you have a pain in your back. He got to listen to what you say and prescribe the damn weed for you.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm just hoping that as the debate goes on and more of these discussions are held, that I'm sure that the Minister of Health and Wellness will look at it.
All right, we got one more call. Hold on, let me just read this text. Man, I don't need those my bush supply chain by cross-pollinating, as C. Allen Johnson alluded to, making my batch weak also. It is hard for me to hide a greenhouse in the bush to protect my strain from that whack strain from Texas. You already put me on the spot, Caller, you the last caller. What you saying? I guess Papa was the last caller. Brother McCartney, we ran out of time.
Yeah, it was
and we thought the 2 hours is gonna be long.
Yeah. I was wondering what we can do for 2 hours, but let me just say, probably the commentary was awesome. I was truly impressed by the comments that came in the calls, and none were nonsense. They were talking and different points of view, but each person I think articulated what they were feeling, and I'm pleased that the dialogue has started again, and I hope it continues. And I say that I hope we continue to put pressure, or I'm certainly the Minister of Wellness Health and Wellness will take into consideration the public dialogue, but I hopefully this is something that we need to educate ourselves about and this has to be continuous education. And today, I think, was an excellent opportunity for me, and hopefully it stirs more dialogue.
Well, I know other show hosts I know Naughty's gonna have a conversation about it tomorrow, so it's gonna be carrying on for a little while for people. And it's good that we get the dialogue, so with the politicians, but with the people that run this one. Thank you so much, guys, for the calls, the texts, all of those of you who listened, all of those who participated. This is Pearlie filling in for Zhivargo Laing on Z Live, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Take care.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.